Hey people, it's the Real Q Storm. I'm here to talk about The Walking Dead because The Walking Dead is back with a vengeance. Last Sunday's episode, No Way Out. Oh, okay. This show proves that the best way to reinvigorate a flailing, kind of stale series is to either, one, introduce a baby among the cast members, which they did a few seasons ago, or two, shoot someone in the face. My man Carl took one to the eye, and man, I had to book a couple therapy sessions after seeing that episode. After seeing the kid who was kind of a up to begin with, but after seeing him get chomped up, and then seeing Carl take one to the head, that was it was both depressing and brilliant at the same time. I got to give credit to the showrunners. I never thought they would go there. This event did happen in the books. I'm a huge fan of the books. I've been reading them since issue number one, and it went down pretty much like it did on the show. I never thought they would have done that, but to be honest, I think this might open the door to a lot of new dramatic arcs. I can't wait to see what Chandler Riggs does with this new development. He had some jokes on the internet. I believe he was quoted as saying, "It looks like Carl's going to be seeing the world in a different way from now on." So apparently Riggs has a good sense of humor about it. Now, I wonder if we're going to see a change in Carl's character because, really, the Carl in the book by now is a total badass. The Carl on the TV show still has a lot to learn about trusting people. I hope he's learned his lesson. He really should have taken that kid out a few episodes ago before the mid-season break. But let's back up a sec. Let's just go to the cold open, the segment before the opening credits, where Sasha and Abraham were hijacked by Negan's men. Okay, I'm not ashamed to say it. I have a staunch record of heterosexuality, but I will tell you that I went bitch for Daryl once again. I think his popularity is going to shoot up once again after seeing that scene. That was amazing. So clearly, this episode sets up the fact that there is a character called Negan who we're going to be introduced to. Now, we've known for some time that Jeffrey Dean Morgan was cast in this role, but I gotta say I'm a little disappointed that they're going to go through with this, and I'll tell you why. Because I feel like, okay, in the books, Negan was a vile, misogynistic, misanthropic, foul, cursing, violent human being. And I just don't think, even though it's AMC, they're not going to be able to portray him in the proper manner because it is a TV show. I feel like what we're going to get is another watered down version of a character, just like we got with the governor. Because let's be honest, that governor was nothing like the governor in the book. So I'm not really looking forward to them introducing Negan. Now, the fact that they were willing to do that to Carl's character, plus the fact that Negan's coming, makes me wonder, are Glenn's days numbered? If you are a fan of the book, you know that in issue 100, it doesn't go well for Glenn when he meets Negan. I think all bets are off. After three very close brushes with death, if you remember, Glenn came close to dying when Noah was killed. He should have died when he fell off of that garbage dump when the guy shot himself in the head. He should have died then. Then we have this near miss where all of a sudden Sasha and Abraham save his ass from getting eaten. But I tell you what, that was I loved it. I mean, my heart jumped in my throat when I saw that. That was great. But my point being that after those three near misses, if it doesn't go down for Glenn when we see Negan, I think there's going to be a riot. It'll be total bullshit. There were a couple of head scratching moments. Like, I didn't really buy the whole conversation between the wolf and the nurse sitting out there in the stairwell. That got a little old and a little long, and I just didn't buy the fact that the wolf would all of a sudden have a change of conscience when he spent the whole previous, 2 or 3 episodes showing us how much of a dick he is. I also would call kind of a little bit of bullshit on the fact that, maybe 6 or 7 people took out every zombie in this town. It seems to me that if they could do that, they have no fear of any hordes anymore. But even as unrealistic as that was, I'll let it go because, I mean, it was just so cool. At one point, it looked like the director just said, F it. We don't even have to show zombies. Let's just show close-ups, individual shots of each of these characters swinging bats, swinging axes, shooting crossbows, shooting guns. We didn't even see zombies, but that was so cool. It was like watching individual panels of a comic book. As unrealistic as that was, it had me on the edge of my seat. The other issue I had was, would Rick really give his daughter to Gabriel? To the Gabriel that we've seen over the last couple years who isn't worth a dime? I don't know. That's not the right time to be putting your trust in someone who you hope is changed for the better, who you hope is going to contribute. Speaking of that, I got to give it up to my man Eugene. Eugene grew a pair this episode. So we definitely have seen a change in Eugene, and that is a long time coming. In this episode, we saw Rick go full bat, going outside with an axe and taking on a whole horde of zombies. Now here's the thing. We've seen Rick go from rational leader to bat crazy a couple times now. Are we going to see that again, given what has happened to his son? If Rick does change and go over to the dark side again, it has to be permanent. Although, judging by his dialogue to Comatose Carl at the end of the episode, it doesn't look likely. He still has that positive nature, which is good. He has that positive nature. He's crying over his son. He's telling his son, please don't die. I want to show you this new world that we will create. So I'm thinking Rick is going to still kind of vacillate between badass and rational leader. We'll see if they can make that balance work. It's kind of been like a seesaw thus far, kind of a little inconsistent. But you know what? After this episode, I have complete trust in the showrunners. I loved this episode. I thought it was a great mid-season debut. And I can't wait to see what happens next week. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me. If you disagree, tell me what you didn't like about the episode. I'm sure there were things that would merit some dislike. Let me hear from you. And until then, that's the Martini.